But we do begin with ABC's David Muir, anchor of World News Tonight, who's on the ground from Beirut. David, good morning.
Dan and Paula, good morning. As you know, President Trump addressing the nation shortly after 9 p.m. last night, telling Americans that U.S.-led precision airstrikes had begun over Syria with help from both the UK and from France, two of our strongest allies. They talked about these strikes being aimed directly at chemical weapons capabilities, the facilities in Syria where they believe these chemical weapons have been made. The president talking about the images the world saw of the children who suffered in agony, some of them not surviving. More than 40 died in that attack, talking about mothers and daughters gasping for air, and said this was the work. These are the crimes of a monster. Overnight, airstrikes lighting up the Syrian sky. American, British, and French forces launching a joint strike offensive, destroying 3 targets. Explosions could be heard across the region. A coordinated cruise missile attack from sea and air. Retaliation for that alleged chemical weapons attack 6 days ago. The military operation planned targets, chemical weapons facilities. They targeted weapons storage units so that there would be minimal civilian casualties. Syrian television reporting this morning that 3 civilians were harmed when missiles hit a military base in Homs. Overnight, President Trump underscoring the horror of the Syrian regime's chemical weapons attack on its own people.
The evil and the despicable attack left mothers and fathers, infants and children thrashing in pain and gasping for air. These are not the actions of a man. They are crimes of a monster instead.
Syrian state media this morning saying that the scientific research center in Barza, north of Damascus, and warehouses belonging to the Syrian army in Homs were among those targeted in the attack. There are conflicting reports coming in from both Damascus and Moscow as to the number of alleged U.S. missiles that were shot down before they could reach their targets. Supporters of the Assad regime this morning now dancing in the streets in Damascus, following Syria's response to the attacks. There is reaction this morning in Syria. Syrian television now saying that this was a cowardly terrorist attack only done for America to save face, and continuing to try to push that storyline that the Russians have proof that the Duma chemical attack is a, quote, masquerade. But as we heard from the Defense Secretary James Mattis overnight, he said 1 year ago in that airstrike in Syria, they clearly did not learn their lesson. This time, the U.S. military, he said, struck harder. Dan, Paula?
Great, David Muir reporting from the region. And shortly after the president's announcement, the nation's top military brass went before the cameras.